Okay, can I train my kids in the gym? So this question here, yeah, you can safely train your like teenage kids, or even like tween kids in the gym, but there's certain physiological differences between them and adults. So without getting too geeky with you guys, yeah, kids basically don't have as much what they call muscle glycogen stores. So we have a facility in our muscles to store sugar and carbohydrates. Kids simply don't have as much, or young people don't have as much of a big storage capacity for that. The next thing is the temperature regulation that adults have. Young people simply don't have the ability to regulate their temperature quite as easily. So that is something else you need to be mindful about. So the answer to this is, if you're resistance training, for example, with young people like your son, your daughter, whatnot, it's completely safe, provided you don't push the weight too high, because they can have growth plate issues. Because what happens is they're growing, so some of their like soft tissue is stretched a bit because of the growth spurts. So if you overtax their muscles with heavy weight, their muscles are not really built to tolerate heavy weight. So you're better off focusing on like the squeeze of the form. So for example, when it's like chest press, just focus on like watching a good demonstrational video. Like I provide these actually. But yeah, really just focus on like, pushing up, holding the weight still, and slow 4-second decentric down. Because remember, you can also make lightweight have the same effect as heavyweight with good form, without all the risk. Because the heavier the weight you have, the higher the risk of injury, and besides, their bodies are not really designed for it. So you just need to make sure you've got loads of water, and if you're doing some cardio with them, just make sure it's not too intense, the duration of it is not too long, because they look like they're very energized, but then you'll notice they compensate very quickly for it as well. So just something you need to be mindful about. So I see a lot of like very young kids trying to push some heavyweight with some very bad form, then they get injured, and then they can't train. So yeah, just don't go too crazy with the weight. Watch what they're doing, watch what they're for, and if they won't listen to you, get someone they'll listen to supervise them, maybe one of their friends who's been training a little bit longer. All right, peace out.